play and call it work.
Hey there guys, Quirk here from MiniWarGaming.com to give you this week's Sit and Talk with me, Quirk. And before we get to this, I do have some questions from you guys, asking a bunch of different things from Age of Sigmar to 40k to just general life questions, so I'm going to do the best I can to get through all of them. But for those of you who aren't sure how this works, it's 30 minutes free where I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, and then it's another 30 minutes in the vault where I finish off all the remaining questions. So if you're not already a vault member, you can go ahead and click the link below after this video to continue to have me answer these questions. And lastly, before I continue or start to jump into the first 30 minutes, next week is going to be a sit and talk with Steve. So if you have any questions or comments for him in the bottom of the comment section of this video on the website, just leave Steve and then your comment or question for him so that he knows what the questions to ask next week. So without further ado, let's start this timer. Beep. Holy cow, it actually worked. All right, so I have GM Wayne. Hey Quirk, who is your favorite faction in Age of Sigmar and why? Also, any suggestions for someone just getting into Age of Sigmar? Keep up the good work. Okay, so to answer your first question, what my favorite faction is, it's still probably the Spider Riders. I do like the look of them. I like the idea of little goblins riding on these giant spiders. I think that's really cool, and I love the Ragnarok model. If you're someone who's just getting into Age of Sigmar, what I would usually recommend doing is, first off, just download the app from Games Workshop. It lets you kind of go through all the different war scrolls. It gives you a better idea of what the certain armies do and how they function and stuff like that. And it gives you a nice little introduction for the most part. And then from there you can kind of decide if you want to get a starting box, if you want to build a specific army. If there's certain armies that kind of catch your attention, get their book, and then go from there and kind of see where you want to go with that. But for anyone who's just getting started, that's usually what I would recommend, whether you're getting into Age of Sigmar, 40k, or any other game whatsoever. Do a little bit of research before you just go in and buy a model that looks really cool. Obviously, if you want to paint the models that look really cool, go right ahead. That's one way of getting into it, but I do recommend making sure that the army that you're going to buy works with your playstyle quite a bit. So that's my advice right there. Next up, we have Nergleel. Okay, Quirk. Well, lad, what's the crack? You mentioned in Owen Vault that you own a Mustang. 2 questions. What type of Mustang is it? And if you had to pick another muscle car that wasn't a Ford, what would it be? Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. The Mustang that I have is a 2007 California Series GT Roush Stage 1. So hope that makes sense to you. Probably does if you're a car guy. And if I had to pick my favorite muscle car that wasn't Ford, it would be the Pontiac GTO, like a 1967 and 1969 Pontiac GTO. Those are gorgeous. They're phenomenal. So, Stinky Diver, Cucumber. How would you improve the cover mechanics in 40k without implementing something overly complex or game breaking? I think so. It's not a huge cover mechanic thing, but what I would usually try and say when I'm playing against somebody for cover or stuff like that is I treat pretty much everything as the bunker rule, where I think it's the bunker or barricade, one of those two, where if you're within an inch of a piece of cover and the model that's shooting at you is obscured by, obscures the model by 50%, you get cover. Now in 40k, cover isn't a huge thing. Like, it can help out in certain areas, but I mean, all it's really doing is giving you a +1 to your save for certain circumstances, which with the amount of rend and stuff like that that's out there right now, it's not going to help you out too much. The most I've ever seen it do is give cultists a 6-up save in certain scenarios, so or a 5-up if they're not getting any AP or something like that firing at them. But no, usually what I would say is if you have a piece of terrain like this, and you have a model within an inch of it, and any other models that are trying to shoot at it are obscured by 50%, I'd say you get cover. So that's just kind of the way I do it. Whereas if you're standing like way out in the open and like you're still 50% obscured, but you're not near any cover, then no, you're not going to get it. It's a pretty simple system, but that's what I would usually, that's what I would recommend, I guess, for some sort of a cover system in 40k. Yeah, that'd be my recommendation. Veery84, Quirkinator. Seems like a lot of people around you like Wild West Exodus. Any plans for your own posse? Not really. Everybody kind of jumped on the Wild West Exodus thing. I do like the game. I like the look of it. I like the models and stuff like that. It's more of a, I don't have the funds or the time to invest in another miniature hobby right now because I've still got tons and tons of miniatures on my desk that I've kind of put on the back burner, and I would like to get at least some of them painted before I pick up another miniature game. And oh, sorry, would love to see you push one of the faction in Wild West Exodus to 11. Greetings from Germany. All right, well, I will see what I can do. It's more of a, it is full on just time and money. I don't have the time or the money right now to invest into another miniature hobby. So, sorry. All right. Big Mikey, Quirk, what's your dream car / motorcycle? Feel free to break down into different eras if need be. So, I don't know what's going on. I've got 2 questions about vehicles. This is interesting. I've recently started watching a lot of, what is that show called? American Chopper, that's what it is. So you got like the OCC and the Paul Jr. designs. It's the way the TV show's going. But I love the look of a chopper. But I don't mean like, the big fat handlebars that come way up here. I like the look of a nice, smooth, slick chopper, completely custom, done up. There's the Black Widow bike that Paul Jr. Designs did. That's an absolutely gorgeous bike. I think that's fantastic. And just stuff like some sort of a chopper would be ideal for me. I'm not really into the super bikes or the sports bikes. Like the bike I have right now is a Sportster, which is about as close as I'm willing to get to to some sort of a sport bike, and it's a Harley, so it's one of their weird out there kind of bikes. But that's about as close as I would get for getting towards something like that. I do enjoy more of a cruiser or a Sportster. So. As for car, my dream car would probably be the car from Triple X that Vin Diesel drives, which is, of course, the 1967 Pontiac GTO. So, again, done up in the purple with everything. Yeah, I like that car. That would be my dream car. If not that, then a 1969 Pontiac GTO in like olive green, because I'm weird. All right. GBC343. Hey Quirk, I was just curious if there's any bit of Age of Sigmar lore that was your favorite, or perhaps which of the 4 grand alliances you feel the closest to. So I'm not really big into the Age of Sigmar lore. I do enjoy it whenever Matt happens to tell me anything about it, but I think the one thing that I liked the most was the story about how Nagash is constantly pulling souls in, and then something happened and it just completely reversed the polarity of the realm, I guess he was in, and it just kind of messed up the universe. I was like, that's awesome. So I did enjoy that. As for which one of the 4 alliances kind of I feel closest to, playstyle wise, I enjoyed playing Destruction. I find they're very fast, get in your face, just beat 'em up orky style play works really well for the way that I like to play. That's why I usually play the Spider Riders back before they switched the way the destruction mechanic worked. But the one that I feel personality-wise closest to would be Chaos, because you got the Chaos Gods, and I very much enjoy Tzeentch. I like the trickery, I like the manipulation, I like having the weird board control. I guess if that makes any sense to you. Like when we're playing 30k, I enjoy playing Alpha Legion because I kind of could manipulate my opponent's reserves, or I could manipulate the game order, or I could manipulate, target priority just by getting in my opponent's head. I enjoyed that a little bit. But full-on playstyle, it's definitely Destruction. 100%. All right. WB Freak 54. Quirk. First off, I wanted to ask if you think it is weird that I was tired of painting my new models, so I took a break and started painting a life-size human skull. I call him Yorick, and he will help my class learn. No, I don't find that weird at all. Mainly, what possesses you to want to do these 24-hour live streams? It is very entertaining, but I can't imagine having to entertain for 24 hours. Why don't you guys do shift or do a whole week of it where everyone is painting or doing something like that? Finally, I want you to be the color commentator for 40k and Age of Sigmar games. I think it would be amazing, especially the way you say amazing. So I'm going to write amazing again. So you will say amazing a few more times. Amazing? I like that. To answer your question, though, about the 24-hour live streams, I enjoy doing them. I've only done the one, so I can't really say that I have track record of enjoying it, but the last one I did, I very much enjoyed it up until probably as soon as 10 o'clock hit, because it was like that last 2-hour stretch. Everybody was coming back into the office. I was able to kind of lighten up a little bit, and it was just oh yeah, I was supposed to be painting this entire time. That kind of stressed me out a little bit, because I actually ended up having to paint those Harlequins at the tournament in the Las Vegas Open. So I was actually sitting in the hotel room at the desk, painting, looking at my clock going, okay, my round starts in 10 minutes. Like, I got down there and everyone's like, oh, your army looks pretty good. I was like, yeah, don't touch it. It's still the paint's still wet. So it was pretty bad. As for the actual enjoyment of doing the 24-hour live streams, I do enjoy it. I think it's a great way for people in different time zones to get a chance to interact with the people from MiniWarGaming. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that anybody from the studio is going to be on the show for the entire time. Like, I know Josh will probably jump in, Steve will be there, Matt's definitely going to say a few words, Lee might jump in for a little bit, Aaron will definitely be there. I'm not sure if Colin will be, because I'm filming it on a Thursday and he only works Monday to Wednesday, so a little tricky there. But I like the idea of having a chance for everyone in every time zone to get a chance to interact, say your piece, do whatever, interact with us however you like, and at the end of the day, I'm still going to be giving away that army, which, you know what, could start somebody up into the hobby, could get somebody started up into the game that they normally play, because I think right now with the poll, Orcs are in the lead, so I'm probably going to be painting Orcs. I'm not sure what paint style I'm going to do. I'll probably be doing another poll. If this is okay, this is all if Orcs win, which they probably will, I will be putting up another poll later on next week, and it's going to have the different clans, and you're all going to be able to vote on which clan you'd like me to paint it in, and then I'm going to paint the paint scheme like that, because as much as I would very much enjoy saying, you know what colors do you guys want me to paint it, and just leave that up to the public, I'm going to get some weird responses, and without having some sort of an order system to it, I'm not going to be able to figure out which paint scheme most people want. So I'm going to actually go with a clan-based paint scheme for that one. And it also makes it a little bit easier for somebody if they're going to be getting into the hobby, or if they're going to be, if they do happen to win this Start Collecting box, or sorry, this painted army, because it gives them a paint style that they can actually mimic, as opposed to somebody saying like, oh, you know, I want you to paint them all like liquid metal, so the boys have to be chrome, and all of their armor has to be like gold and melted, and like make them look like the Golden Army from Hellboy or something. It's like, okay, that's not really fair for somebody to be getting this army because of that, because if they want to continue playing with this army or expanding on it, it's going to be really difficult to mimic the paint style from that. And also, I'd feel really bad if I gave somebody the army, or I'm sure somebody would feel really bad if they won the army, and then the first thing they have to do is strip the paint job. So, which, in all fairness, you're probably going to be able to see the quality of the paint slowly deteriorate as I go through the models, and I just get more and more tired. It's going to be the first one's like, I'm going to make you like golden demon level painted, and by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, you don't need to have all that stuff painted. I'm just going to paint you green and paint that black, and you're done. So, yeah, that's the thing right there. But I definitely would love to do the color commentating for Age of Sigmar 40k games. More 40k because I'm not as knowledgeable in Age of Sigmar with the different factions, whereas in 40k I've been kind of trying my best to go through the different armies. At this point I'm familiar with, I want to say about 70% of the armies, fairly knowledgeable with them. At least 20% of them I know very, very well. Like in the last sit and talk, you guys saw me actually math hammer out a Harlequin list without even having the book in front of me, just because I knew the numbers for everybody. So I'm like that with Harlequins, and I believe Custodes. I can roughly remember their points. So okay, next up we got future tense questions for Quirk. I'm interested in starting Age of Sigmar, so I've been watching every Age of Sigmar bat rep that has Stormcast Eternals. Because I like Sigmarines, sue me. Well, whatever, works for you. And notice that no one has played a match using Vanguard units with their teleporting rules. I think they look amazing, and the rules interest me. Does the MiniWarGaming crew think otherwise? As a new player, should I look elsewhere to start my Stormcast Eternals army? I'm not new to tabletop wargaming, so I'm not afraid to play interesting rules, but I do think I'm overstepping myself. I don't want to invest only to find out the units don't play well together or are underpowered. So To be honest, you're kind of asking the wrong guy with this one. I'm not very familiar with the Stormcast. I've played them a small handful of times, and I definitely haven't used the Vanguard or their teleporting abilities because I don't play them that much. The only amounts that I play them is very basic lists that someone would have made ahead of time, and something happened, so they need me to play the game for them, so I'm using the list that they made. From my understanding, though, Sigmarites are incredibly good, and the Vanguard stuff is very, very good. But with their whole teleporting thing, okay, this is, again, me, very, very rough knowledge of them. I understand that they can do the teleporting thing where they can just land on the board super far up and just wreck everything. But they don't have any more tricks than that. It's kind of like, you know, they are the Space Marines of Age of Sigmar, where they're kind of like the jack of all trades. You're going to get units that are really good in melee. You're going to get your units that are really good at shooting. You're going to get your units that are really fast. You're going to get your units that are really tough. But you're not going to have the Spider Rider build where you can go, okay, here's my unit of 20, and if I do this buff, this buff, this buff, and this, they go flying across the board and just wreck everything. It doesn't matter what you are because they're just doing crazy amounts of mortal wounds. You're not going to get that from Sigmarites. So you're also not going to get like the Caradron Overlord clown car where it's, okay, here's this transport, but it's got like 50 guys inside it. So turn one, you're not going to get stuff like that. You are going to get a very balanced, durable. It's kind of like the army's designed to be a take on all comers. So it's a good army to start with if you're just getting into Age of Sigmar, which I think you said you were. Yep, I'm just starting at 8. Okay, so yeah, it is a good army to start with. It's a great jumping off point. It's very similar to in 40k if you were to play Space Marines or Orcs, where it's just, okay, you know what, they kind of have a little bit of everything. They're not really good at certain things, but they are fairly okay at everything. So just my advice right there. So moving on. Cheeky chap, Quirk, Wraith Knight Harlequin, where, why, and how long? Do it now. Oh yeah. So I cleaned off my desk a while ago, and that was one of the models that I took home with me, and it is now sitting in a box in my garage because I haven't had a chance to get to it. Now, the amount of models that are sitting in my garage right now is ridiculous. I probably have about 4,000 points of just straight Space Marines, and I mean like no vehicles, no big guys, no knights, no anything, just infantry. Probably about 4,000 points, and that's just a small handful of Devastators, and the rest is just Tactical Marines and Assault Marines and everything else. I used to have a bunch of Bikers, but I sold them to Josh. But so I have that. I have every single one of the War Machine Con exclusive miniatures still in the blister. I have probably 4 boxes of Infinity still in the plastic. I just recently brought back the Dante's Angels for the Eden game, made by Happy Games. I have about 4 different busts, and then I also have a ton of named characters. I've got Gulliman sitting in that box. I've got a Wraith Knight sitting in that box. I have the other Alfarius model that came with the 2 when I did the one for 30k. Who I think is actually sitting right over here. Oh no, you're too far, I can't reach it. I have a couple Dreadnoughts. I have at least 4 boxes of Strike Squads. Like, it's just ridiculous. And these are all models that are just sitting in boxes. Oh, I've also got a bunch of Relic Knights stuff. I've got more Harlequin stuff. 2 Dark Age armies and 1 Wrath of Kings armies. Wrath of Kings? Yeah, Wrath of Kings. So, yeah, I got a ton of stuff at home that I just haven't even looked at because I'm like, I still have all the stuff on my desk that I need to work on because it's a little bit newer and more prominent. And when I get a chance to, then yes, I'm going to start working my way back. But yeah, that's the thing. I will, just for you, Cheeky, as soon as I start painting that Wraith Knight, I will start posting some sort of a vlog about the little details that I'm doing all over it, just so that you can enjoy it. All right, promise, I promise. NPC 2163, Quirk, have you learned what the Cold War is yet? And have you heard of the First and Second World Wars? They're all pretty important to you Canadians. Yes, I did learn what the Cold War is. I'm aware of what the First and Second World War is, and I'm from Canada, so the only thing that we really care about is the War of 1812. That's the only one that anybody ever talks about. Now, I say that because I live 20 minutes from Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is where the battle took place. So we have tons of historical buildings. It was actually for a solid chunk of our school, like for grade school, it was every year we did a tour to some sort of landmark at that, at that area. Like I remember spending, we did one. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here. I know you're trying to be a little bit funny with that one, but we did one, and it was an overnight school trip at Fort George, which was a military stronghold during the War of 1812, where it was just bunkers and barricades. You kind of get to, the whole idea was you got to relive what it was like to spend a full day and night as a soldier, whatever it was, at this fort. And it was brutally hot, and for some reason, the tour guide thought it would be funny to have all of us dress up in the uniforms that the military would wear. Now, this is all stuff that was supposed to be designed for, you know, Canadian fall, winters. It's super warm. It's like heavy, not fleece. It's gone. The name of the material has escaped me. But it was really warm. And I'm pretty sure during that trip, 3 of my, classmates actually got, heat stroke and stuff like that. So I think they stopped doing those tours. But, yeah, in my area, one of the biggest things that we really care about historically is the War of 1812. And I don't even know that much about it. I'm not a history buff, guys. I will be 100% forward on that one. I don't know very much about history. I'm working on it. I just recently got cable and I've started watching the History Channel, so I'm learning a little bit here and there, but now the History Channel only ever really wants to show Pawn Stars and Storage Wars, and it's kind of frustrating because I want to learn stuff, but I can tell you how much an accordion is worth. Thanks for that. Anyway, getting way off topic. Moving on. Chapter Master Dave. Quirk, not sure if you've been asked yet, but what is your wish list for the Orc Codex? What would be something from the lore that you would like to see make its way into gameplay? I would love to see more Psyker stuff for Orcs. One of their biggest things is that all the Orcs are Psykers. They have some sort of a psychic presence, and if enough of them believe in something, it becomes true. I would love to see that implemented in the game, where it's okay, here's how it could work. A unit of 10 boys can cast Smite, but they only get 1 die. Unit of 20 boys can cast Smite, but they get 2 dice. 30 or more can cast Smite, and they get 3 dice. And the only way that they'll perils or whatever is if you happen to roll double 6s or double 1s. If you have to roll the 3 dice, it's still double 6s or double 1s. So you can go over, and it makes it super easy for them to start casting that D6 Smite. I would love to see that. Or some sort of a just crazy powerful thing where it's just something. That would be awesome. That would be amazing. I would love to see that. Where it's just enough of it wouldn't even be Smite. It could be something like the Raging Horde or something, where it's just, there's so many guys and they're just so angry and yelling that their rage builds up, and the more guys you have, it has a better chance of them just doing mortal wounds or something. So it would just, that'd be cool. I'm sorry. That would be cool. I think they need it's one of the things they've never really implemented in the game, and I would love to see them implement it for once, where Orcs actually show off how they are Psykers. Doesn't need to be as crazy powerful as Thousand Suns or something, or Grey Knights, or anything like that, but just make it so that they can do something, or something is related to that. Or even if it's in the psychic phase and they get hit by something, depending on how many boys you have, they have a chance to dispel it, or ignore it, or whatever. Just, you have an entire army of guys that are super powerful Psykers that do nothing in the psychic phase. I want to see that. That would be really cool. Lord Gork 300 at Quirk. Hey Quirk, just a simple question. What is your favorite drink? And do you still play with the cooler? Thanks. My favorite drink kind of depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes it's actually kind of weird. In the mornings, I love orange juice. Love orange juice. Around lunchtime, Coca-Cola, energy drinks, something fizzy, usually pretty good. Water in between. I don't drink a lot of water while I'm here because I have to be, awake and hyper, and so I usually grab a can of something because that way I don't have to worry too much about it falling over. After work, I usually will go and have like another Coke or something like that. But then at the end of the night, it's something about tomato juice is just so good. So good. Right at the end of the day, sitting outside, tomato juice, it's fantastic. So, I'm not one for hot drinks. I will say that right now. I've never enjoyed hot beverages, whether it's hot chocolate, coffee, tea. I can't do it. Something about the warmth of the drink throws me off. So, I can drink soup, like soup broth. You give me chicken noodle soup and like the bowl still got some broth in it, I'll drink that. That's absolutely fine. But you give me like a cup of coffee, I'm like, nope, I'll wait till it's ice cold. So, okay. Also, am I still playing with the cooler? We haven't played a tabletop game. Actually, that's a lie. We've played tabletop games, but the only time we ever really played tabletop games is at tournaments. For the first however long, he and I were the only two that would play against each other. So we'd go to his house, he'd come to my house, whatever, and we would just play and play and play and play. We could, back when we were both in high school, I think we could get about, we on average actually got about 3 to 4 2,000-point games done a night, just because we just play it out. It'd be fun. We made terrain, we did the whole thing. Played on my parents' pool table, just got a giant piece of wood, put it on top of that, sprayed it green so it kind of looked somewhat nice, and just played like that. But we could just go through games like it was nothing. It would be, okay, you want to build a list? Sure. And like at that point, we didn't have all of this, so it was like, okay, he would play Blood Angels, or he would play Tau, or he would play whatever, and I'd play like Grey Knights or Necrons or something, and at that point we'd memorize the codexes to the point that we needed to, so we could just pen and paper it really quick, and we'd look at each other's list, be like, yeah, that's fine, okay, yeah, that's fine, okay, cool, let's play a game. And whether it was broken, overpowered, skewed in one way, we didn't care. We would just play a game, burn through it, okay, again, great, do it again. So we used to play quite a bit, and I think that's part of the reason why when we go to tournaments, if we ever have to play each other, we kind of just look at each other, it's like, all right, what'd you bring? All right, what'd I bring? Are you going to do this? Yeah. Are you going to counter with this? Yeah. Should we play it out? Yeah, I guess we should probably play it out. Okay, fine. But if it's like one crazy skew one way or the other, we'll just give each other the points. We're like, we know how this is going to play out. Doesn't matter about dice rolls. Doesn't matter about anything like that. We've learned to play against each other without having to ever worry about dice rolls. As weird as that sounds. Because, yeah, we take the random out of our tournament lists. Miso. Quirk, are you still playing War Machine? If so, how much? I haven't played War Machine since Valhalla of last year. I still have my Cephalix army in the case, and it comes out once a year, gets put in my luggage. We go to Valhalla, I take it out, I open it up, I play one person, I pack it back up, and I bring it back and I put it in my closet. That's how much I play War Machine. Not very much whatsoever. What video games or other games are you doing in your spare time? Have you any favorite recent games? Example, God of War. Oh, you sir, just, I'm gonna come back to that one. Do you have any gaming ambitions? Example, game design, more competitive play, write a Black Library book, create more narrative campaigns. A little bit. I don't really do too much in the whole narrative, like the whole game design, writing books, narrative stuff. I'll play it. I can definitely come up with a story when we're playing a game, but for me to just sit down and go, okay, let me write a story that happened in the 40K universe, I'm not very good at it. You have in here more competitive play. That's actually more where I find my strengths lies, because I very much like building tournament lists. I like looking at an army, seeing what the options are, seeing the combinations, seeing how ridiculous you can get. If you guys watch my Harlequin battle reports, you see that, because I've come up with a number of different combinations for them that they do really well. I've found how it's one of the few books that I've actually been able to take all the different masks and build some sort of a list to it that is really, really, not tournament level, but really good. I like taking a book and just again, like Veery84 said, I enjoy cranking armies up to 11. It doesn't matter how good or bad the army is. I like to just take it and push it as far as I possibly can before it's like, okay, here's the breaking point. It doesn't work once you get past this point. So I like to do that. I am not sure where I can really go with the competitive stuff. Like Matt and Dave sent me off to a couple different tournaments. I tried the best I could to film with everything. If anybody at the tournaments actually saw me there, you saw me with a camera trying to film my games. It is incredibly difficult to film those games and do something with them. So I felt really bad because I I went there, I asked my opponents if it was okay, I had all these ambitions on what I wanted to do with it. I come back, I sit down, I look at the footage, and I go, I can't actually do anything with this that would make a good video. A lot of the footage is me, in the first one when I went to the Renegade Open, I tried to narrate everything I was doing while the camera was going. I made sure I never interrupted my opponent because I know the rounds are timed. It's incredibly difficult to maintain all of that for, whoops, ooh, okay, we're still good. So it's incredibly difficult for me to maintain playing the tournament and also filming. And then on top of that, it's a very much a crapshoot on whether or not my opponent's going to be okay with me filming or not. Because at the beginning, when it's, you're friendly, we're going to see how it goes. Sure, why not? And if I happen to win, which I did a couple times, I won my first game at the LVO. I won my first game. I won my second game, and I got to my third game. And I was at that point, okay, people are starting to take this seriously. They have 2 wins under the belt. They're a little leery about having somebody film things. So it was like, okay, then I won't. So, and that's when we start to get to the content where you guys would really enjoy it. But at that point, there's a lot of pressure and stress and everything on me to make sure that I'm still, whoop, okay, shush, calm down, it's okay, it's okay. That's the 30-minute timer. But yeah, so it's a little bit difficult for me to do something like that. Okay, I will finish answering this question because it's going to go on for a little bit. Number 4, any good movies, TV series, books, comics recently you've liked? Do you read Black Library books at all? I used to read Black Library books all the time. I read through Legion. I've done the entire Eisenhorn series. I've read through the Grey Knight Omnibus, the Night Lord Omnibus, The Emperor's Gift, which is an amazing book. A couple more coming to mind. I've done the first 5 books in the Horus Heresy series. So, yeah, that's about it for the Black Library stuff. Movies, TV series, books, stuff like that. Not really. Like TV series, I've been watching American Chopper. That's pretty much it, because it's nice to just kind of go home at the end of the day and say, okay, let's watch somebody just build something cool. So, good movies. I haven't been to the movies. I haven't seen any movies. It's been a while actually. I'm probably going to go to the movies tonight. Thank you for that. So, all right. And back to number 2. What video games or other games are you doing in your spare time? Do you have any favorite recent games? Example, God of War. So, I used to have a PlayStation 4. Didn't play. I never touched it for about 6 months. So, Dave has it now. But they recently re-released the Burnout Paradise for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4, and that was an amazing game. It's like a full open world demolition derby car racing game where you can do a bunch of different things. They let you do stunts, road rages where you're just driving around bashing into other cars, and the whole idea to it is if you actually have a street race, you're supposed to try and make your opponent not pass them or get ahead of them. You're trying to make them crash so that you don't have to worry about them coming back after you, which is kind of cool. So that was a big one. And then also today, Fortnite Season 5 comes out. So I'm actually, while filming this, waiting for my Fortnite to finish updating so that I can get my battle pass and start working on my tiers. So that's what I'm working on right now. Chris is actually ahead of me right now. It's driving me insane. So little side note for that one, the Season 4, I bought the battle pass with only a week left to try and get somewhere, and I was at tier 22. In a week, I went from tier 22. Now I had all the weekly challenges available to me, so it was pretty quick. But in a week, I went from 22 to 95, and I only played for about 4 days. Not straight. I mean, like I only got to play I played the day I bought it. About 3 days goes by, and then I went play, done. And I got up to 95. I thought about spending some V-Bucks to get those last few ones so I get the Omega skin. I kind of regret not doing it now because I realized I had enough V-Bucks left over that I could still buy the Battle Pass for this year. But anyway, so I'm getting overtime. That's going to be it for the first sit and talk, the first free 30 minutes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you're not already a Vault member, go ahead and click the link below. If you are a Vault member, go ahead and click the link below to get the next 30 minutes of me talking and answering your questions and just kind of going through everything. I still have another 2.5 pages of questions, and I'm going to try and get through them all. So one more reminder before we go ahead and jump into the vault. Next week is going to be a sit and talk with Steve, so if any questions or comments for him in this video on the website, leave a little comment that says Steve, and then your question and or comments that he knows is for him. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy wargaming.